What's up, family? This is episode number 1 of Hard Time Real Talk. This is what we have been getting ready for. This is what all of this has been geared towards. I know I like to talk. I like to get into my stories. It's totally impossible to get my whole life story, my whole experiences into one episode, into 10 episodes. So that's why I do my own separate thing with the car sessions. But the only way to basically do this is nowadays is podcasts, with what I do, with what my life was, and the only way I looked at things really was what am I gonna do? How can I, with what I bring to the table, what can I do with social media to get the best, to use social media as a platform to share my experiences, to bring all that to a wide audience. And because what I really want to do is just help people in the long run. You know what I mean? I want to get information to individuals that are in the same situation, in the same boat that I was in, that I'm in, that you don't have to keep making the same stupid decisions. You don't have to keep going back to prison. You don't have to keep picking up. You don't have to keep making the same decisions that I made for so long. And I see people doing it. I see people with bullshit, sharing just bullshit, getting out, basically reading a lot of novels and fiction books, and taking that and inserting them into those novels, and using that as their platform to to use social media as in a fake way. And I seen that, and it's just like it bothers me, because there's that audience out there that are buying it. And for us people that really did that shit, and I'm not saying, I'm not Mr. Hicks, I'm not Sean Hicks. They don't write, there's no novels written about me, you know what I mean, except addiction stories, people that lived hard lives and got their shit back together. You know, they're not writing organized crime books about me. You know what I mean? So don't take my words in a twisted way, like Sean Hicks. But I see that, and it really fucking grinds my gears. You know, it really fucking aggravates me that there is that audience out there that engages and gives people a following to the point that they can get a book deal, when I know that audience should be engaging in somebody that has had real experiences, like myself, somebody that has shed blood, you know what I mean, real blood, in years of my life, a whole shitload of years, almost 2 decades of my life in prison, that I will not get back. In so many years in segregation as well, in just putting myself through, you know, basically mental torture and emotional anguish, trying to live up to a standard of myself that just wasn't, you know, I set a standard for myself that, you know, nobody could ever live up to. And by doing that, I put my family through a whole lot of shit, and I put myself through a whole lot of shit. But while doing that, I look at that and say, I'm going to take that and use that as a way to share that shit on social media platforms and get those experiences to people, so they, people that are struggling with addiction, people that are struggling with mental health, and say, if this kid has gone through those things, and see that when I tell my stories, and the people that do follow me and that do comment on my things, that know and that were there for my shit, and know that this shit is authentic. There is nothing fake about anything that I say. Nothing. You know what I mean? This shit is 100% real. I'm not a fucking Wes Watson that somehow have a million people following me, and there's not one person that can corroborate that I had the keys to every fucking joint that I walked on, and everybody fell in line to whatever the fuck I said everywhere I went, because that's just not possible. Because anybody that's been in the prison system that will be listening to this story, that will follow me, knows that it's just like when you did something stupid, or you got checked in, or you pulled the stunt. Anywhere you go, there's always somebody that was there. You know what I mean? There's always somebody that was there. That's something that I learned very early doing time. And there would always be somebody that came in, and I would always remember. You do something negative, somebody's always going to remember. So there's just no fucking possibility that all that shit happened and not one person can corroborate that shit. So, I see that irks me, but I want to do this in my own way, and I see other people that have a blueprint, and I'll follow other people's blueprint a little bit, but still have John's way of doing things, because I want to have people come on this podcast that have a wide variety of backgrounds. You know what I mean? I don't want to just have people that come on that have just got out of prison, because that will just bring one type of audience to this, and that's not what I want to do. Not to say that there's anything wrong with anybody that does that, because that works for people, and that's fine. There's an audience for that, and there seems to be an audience for everything. But I want to gear towards multiple different types of audiences, because I believe that this will work. I really have a good feeling about everything that me and my partner here have talked about, and this just feels it just feels really right. I have good support behind me, and everything about this just feels very right, and I really just couldn't wait to get this fucking thing started. You know what I mean? I've had a lot of anxiety, just finally getting to this day, and get this thing going. But already have and spoken to so many people that are willing to come on and are ready to do this, really want to come on and speak and tell their story. So the only obstacle we have there is setting the studio time and really building around all these people that I've spoken to. Most of them are friends of mine and people that I know, and either have done time with or know through the addiction, being in programs with, or what have you. We got a bunch of dynamite people that are going to come in, and that people are definitely going to want to listen to. And I also have a bunch of people that I have up here that I just haven't talked to yet, because I don't want to bring it up yet when there's already a long list that I've asked and we don't have the studio time for, and I wouldn't be able to bring them in for a while yet. I brought it up to people, and I'm not going to be able to bring them in till the end of the month. So I already have, like I said, a perfect lineup in my head of people that are going to come in on this show for the next month or 2 months, and I just honestly can't wait to do all that, to get them people in, and to get these, to get all of this done, to get it filmed, to get it cut, and to get these reels start pumping out, because I already know what's going to happen once all this happens. Do you know what I mean? I know what the public reaction is going to be to these people. Do you know what I mean? I already know, because I know that I would want to hear these people. Do you know what I mean? I'm looking at it as if I was a person on Instagram, or I was a person on YouTube. Would I want to hear these people? And they're also people that I have good banter with. You know what I mean? So there's certain individuals that me and them, once we get together, we just have fun together. You know what I mean? So I know that once me and whoever the guest is, and we get them in, that it's going to be a good time. And no matter what, those views are going to start coming, and those subscribers are going to start coming, and everything's going to really start falling into place. You know what I mean? I have a vision for this, and I know that Enzo does too, and I think we pretty much have the same vision, and I just don't see any other way but this going perfectly. Because I don't know I really haven't asked. I've been on all these podcasts, most of them that are around here. You know, and I'll give a shout out to all of them now. I've been on Bounce Back with B. Luke, which his blueprint, look at the success that he's had, and look at the diversity of guests that he has, is just incredible. And I'm definitely going to follow that blueprint. But like, I've never sat down and asked him, like, how many guests do you have, lined up at a time? You know what I mean? When you're up to episode such and such, like, how far are you in the future with guests lined up? Because I know that, like, I'm already up to episode friggin' 30 in guests in my head. Do you know what I mean? And that vision is just, you're going to want to hear these people's stories, and that's a fact. And just like I know that each person that had me on, I feel like they wanted to hear my story. And I always wish that I could have told it better, because that's why I go on Instagram and I tell each crazy story that I tell, because they're, I know they're funny stories that I would want to hear. And I know that I also have so many written down. I got to the point where I've got a notebook and just written a bunch down that I could sit on, go for a ride and just sit on live. I call it live, and my wife, she corrects me every time because I'm not live. I'm just on whatever the hell it's called, and then I post it. I don't know what the hell if there's a name for that. You just, what would you call that? And so when you're just making a video of yourself.
They're vlogs.
Is that what they're called?
Video logs.
Okay, I didn't even know that I've heard the word vlogs before, but I didn't know that that's what those were, because I've spent most of my adult life incarcerated, and I don't know much about this stuff. That's why I had to wait for somebody like my partner here to come into it to put this podcast together. Otherwise, it never would have been done. But like I said, I've done the rounds of all of them. The W number is most of my followers know, because especially on YouTube, most of my followers came from the W number, because I've been a guest on the W number so many times. Shout out to Maddie Tottenham. But the first couple times I was on there, I went on to just tell my story. Maddie had a vision for what he wanted told, because we did time together. He wanted the first time to go on, and it was like I didn't. I'm so hard-headed that like I went on like to tell my story, really, but he wanted to, and he put in the thumbnail the lug, and like I really wasn't really want to go on and tell that whole story. Do you know what I mean? But we did talk about that. But that was his, it's his podcast, and I really probably should have respected that a little more. But that's what it is. Shout out to Maddie, my boy. Was the first one I went on was Bounce Back. Then W Number was the other one. Oh, Lace Up. I went on Lace Up with Joe and Devin. I'm going back on Bean Shooter to redo my episode on the Bean Shooter Gallery. And I think it's a perfect chance to redo it, because the first time I went on, I was going to do the podcast with somebody else, and I had brought that up, and I think it's perfect timing to redo that podcast. And he has a fucking huge following, so this will be a great opportunity to advertise Hard Time Real Talk to his following, which is like a cult following. He has like a cult following, which is they love him. You know what I mean? His followers really love him, and to be able to kind of talk about this and whatever else I got going on, and give them my story, and maybe hopefully some of his followers will say, hey, let's come check out Hard Time Real Talk. That would be cool. So actually I am kind of happy that we have to redo that. So his blueprint for success is has really had a lot of success with his social media, to go from, because we know a lot of the same people, did time in all the same places, so he has had a lot of success with his social media, to go from where he has been, which is where I've been, and he kind of started doing it before a lot of people, you know what I mean, and I want to replicate Bean Shooter's success. So that's what we're doing here, right? So we're trying to build this following, and we're trying to get some engagement, and we're trying to find out not just what I want, what I have as a vision, but what you have to say, what everyone else has to say, because there are already people that have been waiting, that I have been promising for so friggin' long, and I feel bad, and I'm so happy that I can finally say that this is in the books, and that we have content to give you. And episode 2, we already have that's next Tuesday. I have somebody really that's gonna be not just kind of like special, but somebody that I think people are really gonna enjoy. You know what I mean? From a couple different aspects, and not somebody that people would expect me to have. You know what I mean? So that's why, like, I can't wait to have this person on. I haven't seen them in a while. So I'm hoping that this person, still comes on. They have, every time I've texted them, answered me back. So I don't see why they're not going to come. But that episode 2 really is going to be something special as well. So I'm really looking forward to that, and to see the audience that he brings. Because once he tells his people that he's on here, that's gonna bring some people. So I'm really looking forward to that. And that's another thing. Each and every individual person that comes on, and word of mouth, because that's how I've had to build the YouTube channel that I have so far, as I've had to do it individually, word of mouth, by reaching out personally to. I've had to do this, like, it's taken a lot of work. It really has. I put a lot of work into this, into where it affects my relationship Like, people really don't understand, and I don't know if they think like, oh my God, he's a bug, this and that, but like, this shit is important to me. I am very, very passionate. I don't know if people see that, if you get it. I don't know if people truly understand how important this shit is to me. Like, and I don't get it how you don't see it yet, because I send group DMs to people. How important engagement is. When people do engage, I send a DM back to them, how important that was, so they see like that. It's not like, hey, engage, and then when you engage, it's just like whatever. Like, I personally DM each person that engages, or I try to, and I think I have. And if I've missed somebody, I apologize. But so I try to show the people that do engage that I see you, and I appreciate you. And I will try to continue to do that as long as I can, unless obviously if it ever got to the point where it got too much where I couldn't. And that would be awesome if it does. But if that ever happened, that would be the reason. But for the people that do, and there are specifically people that are very loyal and engage in everything, and honestly, like, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you. Honestly, I do. And if you can continue to do that, honestly, and for the people that I've messaged and say it to, and just think like I'm just like honestly, there's a reason that I send all of you messages. It's because I need you. I can't do this without you. I'm just talking to a screen. If you don't engage, it's pointless. I need the engagement. Engagement equals views. Views equals algorithm. Algorithm equals audience. This isn't going to reach a wider audience if all that doesn't happen. I know some people don't understand the social media algorithm. Everyone I kind of try to explain that to. A lot of people say that, but that's the easiest way I can explain it. In any person that has a 4th grade education can understand that.